Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the podcast. Today is the day I am going to walk you through the goal setting and goal execution process that will guarantee success for 2026. So listen to that again. I'm going to walk you through the exact steps that you will need to absolutely guarantee success for whatever goal you set for 2026. So if you're ready, let's go. First of all, what I want to tell you is that most people do not fail because of motivation. It is this expecting perfectionism, a little bit of what we talked about last time. We have not set a foundation for the tasks that we want to execute. So we have not established our identity to anchor our habit change. We expect perfectionism, and then we underestimate our obstacles. So we underestimate what we can achieve over the entire year. We overestimate what we can do in the short time, and we underestimate our obstacles and overestimate our willpower, honestly. So, if you have ever set a goal that you have truly cared about and then watched yourself kind of slowly drift away from it, this episode is for you. Good intentions and big dreams are all there, okay? We want big dreams. We want big goals. So I'm not at all saying we shouldn't have big goals. They should be audacious. They should be like just mind blowing. Why? Because that's what motivates us and pulls us forwards and gives us a why, okay? But without a big goal, these habits they're not anchored, right? Without this identity of who we're becoming, they're not anchored. And so our effort can feel super random. And so what we need is a big goal, right? Hopefully we've done a little bit of the work from last week. If not, what we talked about last week was we need to set an identity, right? Our habits will always fall back to our identity. Meaning, if I think I'm someone who doesn't follow through, no matter what goal I set, I'm going to fall back to I don't follow through. So I have to set a new identity of I am somebody who is becoming whatever. I am somebody who does this. I am somebody who exercises regularly. I'm someone who eats from the rainbow. I'm somebody who follows through. I'm somebody who does what they say they're going to do. Then from that place, I can pick my goal and pick my actions because they are anchored in this new identity. So if I'm someone who exercises regularly, I'm someone who enjoys moving my body, I can pick exercise goals that match that. Okay, so if I'm somebody who likes to move my body and I want to do something for 2026, then I can set a goal of walking for 2026. So, as a real life example, I will tell you because I will probably bring this example up a couple of times during this episode. My brain, because I do want to do better and be that person who very easily exercises every day. I got a little bit further into it last year, but I that is going to be one of my identity goals is to become this person who just regularly exercises, doesn't think twice about it, makes it a priority, all of those things. And so I was thinking about what could I do for 2026. And so my brain had this twinkling of an idea of maybe I should calm down, I'm not going to run, walk a marathon for 2026, right? 26 miles, 2026. You know, I love me some alliteration and some phonetic beauty, right? So I love, you remember this from my No by 25. So I was thinking that would really be fun for 2026. But then my brain was having a lot of resistance to it. And it wasn't the idea of doing it. It was having resistance in the actual like obstacle section. So when we get to, our steps, when I was thinking about the obstacles, I was really concerned that I just would not have the time to commit to the longer training. So I figured I could and I had done all the things, right? So I had picked this goal. I'll walk through the steps of how I did it, but I picked this goal and then I picked the tiny steps, right? So big goal, tiny steps. So big goal, do a marathon in 2026. Tiny steps, I'm not going to do that in January, right? I want to give myself all year to get that done. So the first thing I did was See if there's even any marathons that are like, are they walker friendly, or is everyone just going to be so mad that I'm walking this marathon, right? So I like did some research. Are there walking friendly marathons in December, right? And it was like, yeah, there's a few. There's a couple in Florida and things like that. Okay. Then I said, you know what? And ChatGPT is my buddy, right? We were going through it. What would a training calendar look like? And then it gave me like a training calendar. And I said, okay, well, let's. And then I started thinking of the obstacles. Well, what does that training calendar look like if I can only commit to one really long walk a month? Right? I can't do an 8-hour training walk every Saturday. That's just not life. Okay, so that this is the have to start thinking about obstacles and planning around them. And it said it was possible, but it started to fall off a little bit. Like maybe not, right? Because I said, what if I can give you like 2 miles 3 times a week and then a long one, or I can do like two miles and one 4 to 6 mile and then one longer a month. And it didn't love that that's all the time I had, right? It still said it was possible because I will tell you that's the flaw in ChatGPT is it's always going to tell you it's possible. It's the best cheerleader besides myself that you could probably have. But my brain was still having a lot of resistance to this. And it really was that I didn't want to have these obstacles that I couldn't see a way around. And I don't think you need to see your way around every obstacle, but I do think it's important to, there's life that happens, right? And I just know, especially with as busy as life has been since like October, November, December into January, that would be kind of prime training time. Would I really have 8 hours on a Saturday to do the longer walks? So knowing all of that and knowing that I still want that to be part of my identity, what else could I do? And so what I have settled on is 26 miles a month. So I'm going to walk 26 miles a month. My brain is not putting up any resistance to that. It's like, yes, we can do that. That's less than a mile a day. If we have a bad week or we can't get our walk done, it's not something that we can't surmount, right? Even if we left it all to Saturdays, we could do 5 miles every Saturday or 6 miles, right? We could do that. So it's still a big goal of all of these miles, but it's tinier steps and breaking it down. Big goals fail when they are vague, right? When it's just this like walk more, right? So I was trying to be very, very specific, which is the first part of like we have this big goal, but it needs to be very specific. So, and I love if it's tied to our identity. So I'm becoming someone who exercises regularly. With that in mind, my goal is to do some sort of large goal for 2026 walking. And the first thing, of course, I thought it was a marathon. And then I had to be like, well, what are the steps to that? And then I had to go through like, is there one possible? What are the obstacles? What does a training calendar look like? Can I really do this? And realize that some of the steps might be unrealistic. That my timeline was ignoring real life. And these are why big goals fail, because it doesn't take these things into consideration. So I said, okay, what else could I do? What's the next best thing? I'm not just going to abandon this identity shift. I want that, but I need something that's more realistic. And then the beauty of this 26 miles a month is that if I start doing this a few months, 3, 4, 5 months, and realize, hey, I had more time than I thought, I can still do this Florida marathon in December, right? But it gives me some lead up time to see how is real life going to play out for this. So I just think it's a win-win on all fronts. But big goals without tiny steps are not good, okay? And I've talked about this before when I've talked about goal setting, is that when we think I'm going to do a marathon, so we're going to keep that as right. I'm going to do this marathon, and I pick a marathon in February. That is unrealistic. That is a huge goal with huge steps, not taking into account real life, right? If I'm not walking many miles consistently now, walking a marathon in 2 months is like, I'm going to get injured. I'm going to get burned out. I'm going to get hurt. It's not going to happen. And I'm setting myself up for failure instead of setting myself up for success. And I want to give you the steps to set yourself up for success, because I promised you at the beginning, I'm going to teach you how to make sure these goals happen. So identity to goal, right? Because I am becoming a person who exercises regularly, my goal is to walk 26 miles a month. Because I'm a steady, grounded person, I'm going to give you more examples. My goal is to move my body 3 times a week. Because I'm becoming someone who takes care of myself and builds muscle, my goal is to eat protein at every meal or at breakfast most days. Because I'm becoming someone who I can trust and who's consistent, my goal is repeatable, right? I'm going to journal 3 times a week. I'm going to whatever it is, okay? We keep our goals aligned with our identity, not with our ego. We turn these goals into super doable actions. So we have picked a goal based on our identity, and we have been specific about the goal with a specific timeline, and it's measurable. Because I am becoming a person who exercises regularly, I'm going to walk 26 miles a month. I can measure that because there's like at the end of every month, I can see if I've walked 26 miles or not. I can set it on my watch, my phone will pick it up, whatever, right? Very easy to measure. Then I'm going to turn them into super tiny, doable actions. So then I can say, okay, because I want to walk 26 miles a month, there's generally about 4 weeks. I'm going to do about 6 miles a week. And I'm going to look at my schedule. And the 2 days a week that I coach from home, I can do 3 miles each of those days. Or I can do 2, 2, 2. Okay. So I can just look at every week and know that the first thing I'm going to do is plan out my 6 miles. Right? So tiny doable actions, because that could be 1 mile a day with one rest day, right? So tiny doable actions. So it's still going, I'm not going to overestimate what I can do on the daily, but I'm not going to underestimate that I'm going to be able to do all of these miles by the end of the year, right? It's going to be amazing. 26 miles every month of 2026. So fun, right? So if my goal is I am becoming someone who eats more vegetables or who eats the rainbow, my goal might be I'm going to put a vegetable on my plate 1 meal a day. Okay, so it's tiny. But by the end of the year, I'm a person who's like eating vegetables, right? So tiny, 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 measurable, doable steps. The next thing, and I find that this is really the missing skill, and we plan for perfect, and we all know life is anything but perfect. So anticipating obstacles is like the part we forget. And it is a skill, and it is the missing like secret sauce. When we can anticipate our obstacles, this is where we can really make sure that we stay consistent with our goals. So the 3 biggest obstacles are going to be time, energy, and emotions. Okay. So you heard me already when I was starting to worry about like this, can I do a marathon? My brain was already jumping to the obstacles because I've done this goal setting multiple times. So I already know I need to overcome that part. So time was my main obstacle because there's busy days, there's travel, right? I run these challenges, those take my time and I want to give those focus. Work, I still have to go to the hospital sometimes, right? So time is an obstacle, it is finite, and we do need to consider it. Okay, so that's why I'm not saying like, oh, we're going to eat 10 vegetables every meal, right? Like, let's just add one. So tiny, 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 but anticipate the obstacles. So when I first thought about doing the marathon, I was like, oh, I can just walk, every single day. It's like, well, that's not really true because there's days that I leave for work early and I drop the kids off and I don't really have that time built in. Could I build that time in? Maybe, but I was trying to just look at current obstacles and see what we needed to do. So currently, I have 3 days a week that I could easily walk. So what fits into that? And so that's when I asked ChatGPT, like, can I still train for a marathon if I only have 3 days a week? And it, of course, lied and said yes. But it just depends on how much time you have on those 3 days, right? If I had all day for 3 days, absolutely 100%. But let's talk about energy. Like some days you're just tired. My whole house was sick around Thanksgiving, right? Like I had the flu. I haven't been that sick in years. There were 3 days I didn't even get out of the bed, right? So if I had, like, we have to anticipate that those things are going to happen. We're going to have days that we're overwhelmed. We're going to have days that we're tired, like that we need to recover. So, can our plan accommodate those obstacles? Yes. So, my new plan absolutely can. I have to do 6 miles a week. If I have 3 days that I have to stay in bed, that's okay. I still have 4 more days, right? That I can walk my 6 miles. Then we have to do emotions, right? Some days we're just not feeling it. All right. Some days we are frustrated or disappointed or stressed or whatever it is. And so we just have to take that into account as well. And then I want you to watch the sneaky obstacles of your brain telling you that just coming up with these excuses. Remember, our brain does not like change. It knows that you were safe and happy today and you did not do whatever is on your agenda. So it's going to try and keep you from doing it. So it's going to say things like, I'll start on Monday, or like, I've already blown it, like, whatever, I'll start again next week. What's the point? Like, I need a treat, whatever it is. It's predictable that your brain's going to do this. So we just know that that's an obstacle and we plan around it. So this is why I don't like saying we're going to do something every single day, because I just don't think that's real life. You guys know I say all the time, more days than not. So when we're planning for some big goal, like, let's plan for 4 days a week. And then if we can do bonus, like, amazing. If we can't, that's okay too. That's why if it's something about food, maybe it's one meal a day instead of all three, right? Life happens. What happens as we go through the year is that when these more days than not, or one meal or whatever, become habits and they're easy, then we can add more. So maybe by December, we are doing every day, right? Maybe we are doing every meal. But for right now, we're going to anticipate that there's going to be obstacles because this is something new. Our brain's not used to it. We're creating a new identity, whatever. We're going to do more days than not, or at least a little bit we're going to do a little bit. And then as that gets easier, we can add in. We have 12 months, y'all. This does not need to be all done today. So just know your brain is going to fight back a little bit. So the other thing about these obstacles is that we can have a little framework, like, when X happens, I will do Y. Okay. So we talk about this back in my, like, exercise exchange program, right? If it's raining and my goal is to walk 5 miles, right? But it's raining and I can't go outside. So when weather is inclement, or when I have to work, what will I do instead? So for the exercise stuff, like, I can walk X amount of stairs. I can, whatever it's going to be, but I can introduce that framework and plan ahead of time. It's the same thing. In the decision moments are never our friend. So, I mean, in the moment decisions are never our friend. So if I am set up for failure, like, wasn't planning on picking up the kids, but now I have to pick up the kids. If it's raining, whatever it is, what is my plan? Okay. Because I know that at the beginning of every week, I'm going to plan my 6 miles. I should be able to look and anticipate. If for some reason, something else, an unforeseen obstacle gets in my way, I can adjust, right? I can always, worst case scenario, I can go walk 6 miles on a Saturday. But I'm not going to plan for that to be the case, because then if something happens on that Saturday, what do I do? So I'm going to plan to spread it out, knowing that obstacles happen and that I can adjust as needed. And so I know that if I have an obstacle, I can add a mile the next day, or I can add another day of walking. And in worst case, I can walk all 6 on Saturdays. So have this backup plan. So if I'm really too tired to do that, maybe I stretch, right? So maybe I still need to tell my brain that I need to do something. So if it's raining outside and I'm not going to get my miles in, I will do something. I will do some bare minimum version. So I will at least stretch. If I miss my vegetables on Tuesdays, I will try and do 2 on Wednesday, right? So if I miss my one meal that I was going to do on Tuesday, I'll do it on Wednesday. So instead of getting caught up in the chaos of the moment and letting our brain be like, well, we've blown it, forget it, right? I want you to start thinking of these like emergency plans, these safety nets, these bare minimum. And we talk about this more. If you are not in Kickstart 2026, you need to be, because all my coaches, this is what we're talking about, is setting these bare minimum baselines, because when these new habits are fresh, we want just to keep going. Okay. They will get so much easier the further into the year we go, but it's just this baseline. So at baseline, if I am not going to go do my walk, I am going to stretch. Like I'm going to still remind my body that it is supposed to be moving, not sitting, not whatever, like not cleaning. It's supposed to be doing. Okay. So try and make your bare minimum at least somewhat fit into what your goal is. Expect resistance. Your brain is going to fight a little bit. That is okay. That does not mean you listen to it. Number one, our brain is not always right. This is very hard for all you smart people. I know we like to think our brain is always right. It is not. Okay. It's going to tell you to stop or not do, or we're tired or whatever. Absolutely expect that to happen. That does not mean we listen, and it does not mean that anything has gone wrong. It just means like we're asking our brain to create a new pattern, and that it takes mental energy, and it doesn't like to do that. It likes to be on autopilot. And so expect that that's going to happen. So when we talk to our brain, I've never done this, but I'm going to tell you how to talk to your brain. First step of that is to listen, right? If it's telling you it's too hard or I don't feel like it or whatever, just be curious, right? Ted Lasso a little bit. Be curious. That's interesting. My brain really doesn't want to do this. Normalize, like, of course it doesn't. Like, it's something new. And then see if we can just remind it that we have a baseline that we're going to keep. Like, I understand you don't want to walk. I understand it's raining. It makes perfect sense. You don't want to do it, even though we have a raincoat. But let's just go ahead and stretch instead. Right. So I like to talk to it like I'm talking to my best friend or like to a kid. Right. A lot of this resistance comes from this underlying need to protect us and to like make sure we're safe. So it's not trying to be a jerk. It just sometimes feels that way. But so I like to talk to it calmly and just reassure it like everything's fine. We're fine, but we are going to do whatever XYZ. I understand like you've given me all the reasons that we can't do our 1 mile walk today, but we're going to at least do this. So let's go back through the steps. Number one, big goals are important. So let's set a big goal, but we want to make it identity based because when we anchor our identity, it helps anchor our actions. The next thing we need to do is make this goal very measurable and very specific. Okay. And so we're going to have a way to measure it. When I first started setting goals, I was like, save more. What did that mean? I don't know. It didn't work, right? It wasn't specific. So we're going to have an identity-based big goal that is specific and that we can measure. The next thing we're going to do is break it into small baby steps. We're going to listen to our brain's resistance, work with it, come up with something that feels easy, knowing secretly, don't tell your brain, but we can make it bigger later in the year once we get the ball rolling. So small steps, small, small, small. If your brain freaks out, make it smaller. Okay. We are going to then, missing step, anticipate obstacles and make a plan. Life is going to happen. So how are we going to anticipate the obstacles and plan around them? So when X happens, I will do Y. Okay. Then we want to make sure that we talk to our brain nicely and like be curious and talk it back from the brink, okay? And then we just need to like check in and reevaluate. Where am I? This is not pass fail. This is not perfect, right? How far have I gotten? And then if we like at the end of month 1, we're like, oh my gosh, I haven't really done that, right? Like I only walked 10 miles. Instead of being like, forget it, I'm the worst, I failed. This is where we need curiosity. Like jump in hard. Why not? Why didn't I get that done? Was it too hard? Were my steps too big and my brain was just resisting too much? Were there more obstacles than I thought that I didn't really take into account? Like, did I not take into account that I can't do an 8-hour training walk on Saturday? Like that wasn't realistic? Was this just a busy month? Was whatever it was. So we really need to do this check-in and analysis and then plan, like make any tweaks, adjustments we need to for the next month. Don't tell your brain, but we can make it harder as we go. We want it to be so easy, January and February, that we just get into this new habit. based on this new identity, taking these baby steps, setting this beautiful minimum baseline so that when we reevaluate at the end of February or the end of March, like for quarter two, what are we going to do? Maybe we're feeling like this is so easy, we're ready to add more. Right? So maybe I am going to do that marathon in February, like in December. I don't know. But right now, my brain doesn't like that idea. It's fighting way too much against it. And so we're going to do 26 miles a month. Okay. And then if like that's easy breezy, we can do more. We can always do more. But when you have freaked your brain out and it feels too hard and then we don't do it all, we kind of get into this overwhelm paralysis where we don't do it. It's really hard to come back from that. So always just keep breaking it down, smaller, smaller, smaller. Okay. And then check in, see where we're at, be curious, don't be upset. It's totally normal that our brain just wants to go slow and wants it to be easy. That's fine. We're going to work around it. We're going to Jedi mind trick it and we're going to make our goals happen. So, big goal, identity focused, very specific, very measurable, tiny, easy steps. Okay. Anticipate obstacles and make a plan. And then we're going to check in and reevaluate at least monthly. See where we are and keep going. If we didn't make our monthly goal, we are not going to quit and we are not going to be mean to ourselves. We're just going to jump in. Like, for real, why not? Be honest. Like, I didn't feel like it. Okay, why not? Well, my brain thought it was hard. Well, why? Because my steps were too big. Okay, then we readjust. No biggie. Okay. If you do these things, you will reach whatever your goal is by December of 2026. I promise. All right. That's it for this week. If you have not joined into Kickstart 2026, it is not too late. Please get in there. My bonus coaches are amazing. Like, the feedback has been great. They are so, so good. And they talk about all these things. We talk about baseline habits and identity and finances and organizing, and it's so fun. So please, please join us in there. $26, 26 days. Everything is recorded, so you'll have access for the whole year. I'm giving you the access for the entire year for $26. The bonus coaches are going to jump into the Facebook group. They'll be there to answer questions in real life. It's just so amazing. So www.sugarfreemd.com/kickstart 2026. Get in there. You do not want to miss it. Share this with a friend. Bring a friend to Kickstart 2026. It's going to be so good. And I will talk to you guys next week. Bye.